Hey, what's going on, Archons? It is time for another video, and this week we're doing a coach's collection, yeah, and we have Fortune Teller Cassandra Canotail, and this deck actually has risen up on my DOK recently, and it's not that significant except for one thing that we'll get to, and let me just go over this deck and kind of its pitfalls and why I haven't given it much time yet, but it is part of my coach's collection in a deck that I will definitely be keeping. So here we have in Disc, Binding Irons, Exhume, Festering Touch, Lilithal, Not Finished View, Double Rock Grub, Soul Fiddle, Three Fates, Harvest Time, Snaglet, Triple Hologramophone, Quant, Tau Tau Vapors, Thorium Plasmate, Double Wormhole, Candle Unit, Data Forge, Reassembling Automaton, Seismo Entangler, and here's what makes it special. That's right, this is an alt art Axiom of Grisk deck, and in it has an Imperial Scutum, Questor Jarda, Raider Gallum, Attribute, City State Interest, Six Semper, Stomp, Compass Haruspex, Lavia the Elder, and of Tertiate and the Colosseum. The only problem here is, well, there's not a lot of creatures in this deck, and that's kind of the problem. But it's been going up the ranking, so I'm kind of curious about it. So we got in here 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 creatures. That is the problem. Like, this is the low of the low end of creatures. I don't think you can get lower than 11. Actually, I think that is like almost more than the low part. I thought 12 was the least. Clearly, I'm wrong. So we got 1, 2, 3, like I said, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 creatures. So low creature count, right? The good thing is there's an Exhume and a Not Finished With You to get those creatures back in your deck. It has a really nice Harvest Time, which I think is really great for dealing with some of those pesky artifacts that are game changers, locations, items, things like that. The other thing that I like about this deck is it has quite a few things that stay on the board. Artifacts, Wild Wormholes are great. The Data Forge pretty much does not work. There is only pretty much a Tau. You need a Tau Tau into... Oh yeah, that's it, just the Tau Tau, so there is nothing. You could maybe get it if your opponent's not paying attention and they Candle Unit you a lot. That's like one way. But aside from that, there's not a lot in that regard. It has some cool things, but the Sync Semper is probably not going to go off because 5 is your highest power creature. So unless it's really set up quite well, it's unlikely you're going to get to pull that off. Another really sad Panda thing is that it's got this great card called Compass Haruspex, which doesn't really work with anything because essentially you're going to use that with Rock Grub. But the problem is when you reap with Rock Grub, you're archiving it. So you basically get to get a double play off of Rock Grub, and that's it because there's nothing else on there. I don't know why this deck shot up so much on DOK. It must be just the cards in it. But I've been wanting to test it out and see what I can do because, I mean, it does have a lot of removal, so it can deal with a board, and I'm just curious how it can stand up. Like there's, first of all, you have the double Binding Irons, you have Festering Touch, and then you have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, kind of 6, 7 cards that do that work. See, the problem is the fighting thing is not really going to work. Like, you're not going to really get this. You may luck out and get one thing out of this, but it's very unlikely that this is going to go off because you're probably using some of the other board stuff to take care of it. But I like this deck because it does have the Axiom of Grisk. It makes it automatically in a coach's collection standpoint because of this alternate art, and it is one of my higher rated decks. It actually is my highest rated alt art deck, and for such a low creature count, I want to see what maybe this deck holds that I'm not thinking about. It's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15 Ember Pips, which doesn't seem like a lot considering there's only 11 creatures. So yeah, that is one thing. But, I mean, 2 key cheats that seem very unlikely to go off. I mean, I technically guess you could do some neat things by going having your rock grubs in your archive would be one thing, and then having your Tao Tao Vapors work, so you get another 2 cards, that's 4 in hand. And then you had some candle unit stuff happen, so let's say another 3 cards. So that's 7 extra cards. So yeah, I guess you could sort of do a key cheat, but it's really not that. It's not that, okay? That's all I gotta say. It's not that. It's just not going to really work. But I mean, it's fun to think of. And the Colosseum, I just don't see how my creatures will be doing that. It's like you have to kind of use Festering Touch, Stomp, all those other things to soften them up and then go into them with the fight. So that may be an important thing, is try not to destroy creatures. Try and get your creatures to go into them and finish them off. So, yeah, that's the situation with this deck. It has cool cards, no question about it. But I'm just not sure if it cuts the mustard. What are your thoughts on it? I mean, obviously, the low creature count situation in this day and game is a little bit sketchy, but I mean, this deck does have some neat things. So this Tuesday I'll be seeing if those neat things actually mean anything. So please tune in and find out if Fortune Teller Cassandra Canotail is any good at all, or if it's just a nice thing for the collection with the alt art Axiom of Grisk. Let me know your thoughts, and as always, may your amber never be stolen and your keys forged promptly. Have a good one.